the desert of the real.
Welcome to the Desert of the Real. I am your host, Ryan Hudson. Joined with me is your other host,
Jason Dietz.
The Desert of the Real is a movie podcast where I forced Jason to watch big blockbuster movies he's refused to watch because he didn't think they were worth his time.
Case in point, Black Widow.
We are currently going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're two high school teachers. We teach English, film, philosophy, creativity classes. We have graduate degrees. We use our academic training to hopefully dig deeply into movies. We explore the creativity, philosophy, film studies, and ethics in our films, and push you, the listener, to think critically about your entertainment.
Yes, we do.
We didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
No, because we're trying to record a back-to-back. We recorded the Triangle episode yesterday.
Yeah.
And here we are. I watched Black Widow for the first time last night. And now, here we are.
Yeah. And
I got up at 4 to make sure that the Triangle episode that 4 of you are going to listen to got out on time. So, you're welcome.
Hey, that Triangle episode's pretty good.
Is it?
We talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah. I would recommend it.
If you like the show, it always helps us if you give it a like.
Yeah.
Or give us a follow.
Yeah.
Or we're on all the websites, I guess.
We are.
Even YouTube and
It
stuff.
especially helps us if you share it with someone that you know.
Yeah. And send us an email at desertoftherealpod@gmail.com. We like to read your thoughts. And we're getting into the dicey phase for Marvel, which is weird to say because Phase 2 was pretty dicey. Phase 1 was dicey.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Wait,
here.
you're saying that?
Yeah, I mean,
That's not me saying that. Okay.
I said
You
I don't
didn't
think
get a
these
lot of
movies. I don't think the Marvel movies get good until the first Avengers. Everything before that, it's like, you know.
Is that Civil War?
No. Like Avengers.
Oh, okay.
With Loki attacking the city and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause we
wow,
had-
that was a long time ago.
Yeah, 2 Iron Mans, a Hulk, Captain America, and Thor. Those are all just fine, serviceable. I think all of those get a better. Well, I love the first Iron Man. Don't get me wrong. But
I wasn't getting you wrong.
Captain America 2 is better. Thor, at least 3 is way better. Like, they get better.
Yeah.
And now we're at this point
It's
where...
kind of like this podcast. Like the first
actually,
5 or 6 episodes are pretty
I feel bad whenever someone jumps in the beginning.
pretty rough.
They're a little bit better now, I would say.
Yeah, we got better.
We watched Black Widow, which came out in 2021.
Yeah. That means we're almost done because it's now 2024.
Yeah.
And they can't possibly have made that many movies between 2021 and 2024.
Well, they may.
That's my hope.
Yeah, there's enough.
There was enough after the first one. But actually, that's not true. There have been several that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Civil War, I really enjoyed. Black Panther, I really enjoyed.
And I've only seen most of Phase 4 one time. This was my second watch for Black Widow. Anyway, you want to give us a rundown? What is Black Widow about?
Honestly, I don't really know. Actually, interestingly enough, it dovetails nicely on your discussion of genre from last week's episode in Triangle, where you were talking about we have a story that we want to tell, and we don't pick a genre and say, I'm making this kind of movie. We want to tell the story. Mm-hmm. In this case, I think that it would have benefited from them saying first, this is the genre that we're going to make, and then make it, because it felt like part of it was like a family drama movie. Part of it was trying to be like a spy movie. Mm-hmm. Part of it was trying to be a superhero movie. Part of it was a sister journey movie.
Yeah.
And none of it worked. because it was just too different.
No, we're gonna get into all the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So actually, I really, really liked the opening scene of this movie. I thought that was very well done. There was good emotion there. And I was actually really optimistic from that scene that this was going to be a really good movie. And then after the credits, sorry, I'm tired. I'm supposed to be summarizing. Okay. The movie opens with Black Widow and her sister, very young, I think 4 and 6 or something. And their father, quote unquote, comes in and says, "We gotta go." So they flee, cops are chasing, shooting, banging, exploding, whatever. This is actually one of the times when I watched the credits, at least partially, for this movie.
You don't watch opening credits still?
No. Why?
Oh my gosh.
Anyhow. So
Watch
it
the opening
shows,
credits.
they're being trained to be assassins. Then we cut to her, Black Widow, right after Civil War, right? And they're chasing her. She goes, she hides. And then we have a little battle where somebody who turns out to be her sister gets smooched in the face with some red dust, which introduces the mystery of the movie, kind of. What happens next? I don't even remember.
Oh, yeah. So the sister gets kind of woken up from her whatever.
Yeah, she's woke now.
And so Black Widow is in hiding.
Right.
And she's supposed to lay low, but then she gets attacked by Taskmaster.
Oh, is that what the name of that guy is? So, yeah, so Black Widow's in hiding because basically the entire planet is hunting for her after the whole airport scene. And she gets this box full of crap from her previous hideout, and she's hiding out, and the generator goes out. There's no gas, so she's got to go get some gas. That's when Taskmaster shows up. There's this honestly pretty boring fight. And on the bridge.
Honestly, I thought that's one of the better fights in my opinion.
In the movie, yeah, sure. Okay, yes, it's very mediocre. Anyhow, Taskmaster wants these little red vials that were in the box of crap that Black Widow got. So she grabs the vials, jumps in the river, etc. And then she goes and finds her sister. And they have a fight, and then they kiss and make up or whatever. I don't know what happened. And then Taskmaster and her and friends show up and blow up a bunch of crap. But somehow Black Widow and her sister get away, and as the movie progresses, they realize that the bad guy...
Oh, the bad guy, I looked him up. He's not like a big villain in comics. Like, he doesn't really have like a presence in...
What's his name?
Dreykov or something?
Dreykov, that's right.
Ray Winston, though. He's a great actor.
Yeah. I actually thought that Dreykov's villain character was one of the better villains.
Wow, what a weird thing to say out loud.
Not in terms of, great visual exploding crap, but in terms of actually succeeding in what the villain was intending to do. I thought Dreykov did it. Like, he's controlling the planet, basically. Anyhow, spoilers. Actually, that's what this is anyway. This is all spoilers. Okay, so...
It's kind of fun watching you being forced to recollect this movie.
This movie sucked. Anyhow, so Black Widow's sister reveals that Dreykov is not dead, which means that they are going to go find him, but they can't find him without their dad. Their dad was the Red Dynamo or something. Red.
So that's one of like a little Easter egg. That's the Red Dynamo is like the sister calls him that at one point. That's just a little Easter egg reference to another like Marvel history.
What is his actual name? Guardian. He was the Red Guardian, and he's in jail. And so Black Widow and her sister go to break him out of the jail. he has some kind of superpower of some sort. He's very
basically
strong.
He's like Russian Captain America.
Okay, he's the Russian Captain America. We have one of, I think, the top 3 most absurd scenes in all of the MCU when they're breaking him out. And then he's a moron, basically, which is dumb, but I mean, also funny. Like,
It's
he's
funny.
but he's a moron. So basically, all he contributes the entire movie is that he knows where their mother is, quote unquote. So they go to mom's house and they have a very touching, quote unquote, family reunion. And mom has ratted them out, so they get caught. They are taken to Drankov's base. But guess what? It was actually a trick. She didn't really rat him out. She was on their team all along. Surprise. A bunch of crap happens on their floating island, which makes no sense that it's even in the air, let alone undetectable for decades in the air. But whatever. The one of the scenes that I actually liked was the Black Widow Dreykov kind of face-off discussion thing when they're in the room together and he's, making fun of her and she's trying to kill him. And
That's like one of the other highlights, I think.
That was a really pretty good scene.
Yeah.
But a bunch of crap happens, blowing up things. Her Black Widow's sister frees all of the other widows.
Yelena Belova.
Yelena, that's right.
Yelena.
Frees all of the other widows. The thing crashes. There's an absolutely absurd battle between Black Widow and the Taskmaster. By that point, who cares? The end.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good.
Freaking garbage.
It's not great.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it's not the best.
Just set my mic off. I muted myself.
Oh,
It might not be a bad idea.
to mute you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's the thing. When this movie,
That's on a t-shirt.
here's the
thing has to be on our t-shirt. Here's the thing.
Here's the thing. When this movie came out, it's 2021. What was a little thing that happened in 2020? I'm being rhetorical, but
Okay, yes. I believe it was COVID, Ryan, for 2000. Thank you.
So, okay, I am showing Jason a graph. So, Jason and I
It's like
had
900 degrees in this room we're in, so we're
really hot.
we're struggling.
Jason and I just had a really long conversation about streaming and the future of movies, and it grew too big for this episode, so it's going to be its own episode. So check out the bonus episode, The Future of Streaming and Movies.
Pretty good stuff.
By Desert of the Real. It got too big. It needed to be its own thing. However, I just showed Jason a bar graph of all the money MC movies have made, and the movies that came out during COVID years are lower. They're like doing Incredible Hulk numbers from they're that low.
How tragic.
And
They only made millions. Those poor Disney.
I know. So Disney Plus really shook up this movie. Jason saw it for the first time right now. He didn't even know that this was a COVID movie and stuff.
Right.
But if you want to hear our conversation about Disney Plus, streaming, the history of television in a way, and how we differ on what we think is going to happen with these big studios, give that a listen.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go over the pros and cons of
We are now in Black Widow. There aren't very many pros. I think the opening scene of this is beautiful. It's a great, I don't know, what is it, 6-7 minutes. It feels very close, very tight. You care about the characters. You care about the little kid and this little family and whatever. It was really great. And then we had the credits, which I watched part of.
I don't know why don't you watch credits?
Why
It helps.
That'll be another 45
No.
minutes of there's no reason
It
to
sets
watch
up the
credits.
movie. It sets
Okay,
up the
in
mood
this case,
and tone.
In this case, I agree partially because in this movie, the credits are basically Black Widow's childhood, growing up, evolving, learning. I got the point about 30 seconds into the credits, and then there was still like 9 more minutes of credits. I just skipped the rest of it and got to the movie. Anyhow, but that opening scene pre-credits, I thought was very, very good.
That's actually my biggest pro too.
Yeah. After that, not the rest of it. but-
Because it feels like a small independent movie.
Yes.
And
Which, if you want my opinion about independent movies, you should listen to the bonus episode.
because the family's like driving in a car and like you see them drive by a football game, that's like unpaid production value, you know? That's
Sure.
what small movies do to seem
Yes.
bigger. And I was like, no way, is this gonna be small and intimate? Are you kidding me? And then
It should have
like
been.
you said, after the credits, it's not really that at all.
No, it's not, which was very sad.
Yeah.
Um,
We also have the same second biggest pro
we
too.
do. Florence Pugh
Florence Pugh
is magnificent
so
in
good.
this movie, which I was actually shocked by. Like, I don't know how the directors didn't realize that she was far outperforming and far out acting everyone else.
Yeah, even
I don't know how that happened.
even Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Like she's okay. Florence Pugh stands out in a movie that she doesn't need to be standing
Right.
out necessarily. Like this has Rachel Wise, you know?
Right, who didn't do well
Not really.
at all. I was like, this is a good cast, but yeah, no.
But Florence Pugh is so good.
Yeah.
She is one of like the next generation of movie stars.
Yeah.
You can argue like Timothy Chalamet. You can even put Zendaya in there if you want.
I don't want.
Well, I know you wouldn't want, but she's
Yeah, she needs to go away.
oh wow. She
Although she was cute in the Spider-Mans
yeah.
that we've watched.
But Florence Pugh, she got an Oscar nom for Little Women, and the same year Little Women came out, she was in Midsommar, and arguably she
Which
deserved the Oscar nom for that movie more.
I think
so
you should not watch that. If you
Midsommar,
haven't already seen it, don't watch it.
it's kind of disturbing, but
It's not kind of. It's
very yeah.
disturbing.
It really is. But she's good. In it.
Unnecessarily disturbing, in my opinion.
Anyway,
And I watched it edited, for crying out loud. I can't imagine what is in that movie not edited.
Anyway, the point is Florence Pugh is really good at acting, and
Yep.
she appears in the Hawkeye show, and once again, it's like she just is standing out.
Yeah,
It's like it's effortless for her.
yeah,
Anyway, the ending of the post-credits scene for this movie.
yes.
If you want to hunt down Hawkeye, you're like, oh, that's gonna be exciting. It gets resolved in a TV show. You will never see that.
Yeah.
So, there you
That's
go.
okay. What I do hope... does she have a character name? Does her
I don't
character
know.
have like a...
I wonder if she'll
like
just
a-
become Black Widow. You know,
Oh,
I don't know if.
that was another thing I didn't... Oh, we haven't even gotten to the cons yet. Never mind.
Yeah, we're in pros.
Okay, yeah, pros. That's the end of my list. The family dynamics when they're being funny together, I thought worked. But all of the other time, I thought it was honestly like the worst, trying to create emotion I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
I just did not care. I didn't feel like they cared. And with the exception, again, of Florence Pugh. Like,
Exactly.
when they're in the mom's house, like, I felt her. I felt that anger and the disappointment. And supposedly, Scarlett Johansson was feeling those same things. I didn't get that from her at all.
Yeah.
But I got the full dose from Florence Pugh. So, anyhow.
Yeah, I liked this movie a lot more when it came out because once again, COVID.
Right.
It was a year before I saw like a Marvel movie. It was a nice after Endgame. It's like I need a break. Having a year off, like let's dip our toes into Marvel. And this one was, just
That's a phrase I've never said in my life.
I think I gave it like 3 stars or something. But I was like, this movie's not great. That scene where they're like trying to connect as a family,
Right.
and like the dad who's like starts singing the song.
Yeah.
I was like, what are we doing here?
Right.
It just didn't. It felt like so much of it was not working for me.
Yeah.
However, David Harbour. Have you watched Stranger Things?
I watched some of it, first 2 seasons, I think, or something.
I really like Stranger Things.
Yeah, I really liked season 1.
And there's only one more season that will be coming out next year, and it's supposedly like each episode's like its own movie type of thing.
Oh, cool.
And it's, Netflix's gold jewel.
Flag. Yeah,
But
flag.
season 1 is lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
But everyone was ready for David Harbour to be the guy. Like, let's give him movies to be in. That's why he was Hellboy. That movie's not great.
He's not that good here either.
He's not that good here either. I mean, he's fun and he's funny.
And that's
but
it.
You're right. It's like, I want to love what you
Yeah,
like,
there's no
I want to
substance
I want to
to him.
love you more type of thing.
Yeah.
Fun fact, when he talks about like fighting Captain America, it doesn't break canon to say it was in the 80s because Captain went back and stuck around in the 50s or the 70s. When was it? 50s.
50s, and then he lived.
So he
lived
fought
through.
He could have fought older Steve Rogers. So that still makes sense.
So that's the pros.
Those are the pros. Fun banter, Florence Pugh, opening scene.
Yep,
A few
that's
cool
it.
things here and there. That's it.
Yeah. The cons list is a lot bigger, but for me, the biggest con is this is just boring. Like, it's a boring movie because I feel like Marvel has painted themselves into a corner because Endgame is
The end.
it.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you can't do anything bigger than the end of half the universe and then undoing that. And so all of the fights, all of the chases and the explosions, they all felt like, who
Frivolous.
cares? Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. Plus, this is easily, the CGI does not look good.
No, not at all.
I know, like, Twitter got really hung up on that one specific little moment where Florence Pugh's on the jet and is about to stab it. And she goes, "This was fun." Stab, explosion. Doesn't look great,
No.
but honestly, there are worse examples in this movie
Yeah.
of just CGI looking really bad for a $200 million budget movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So there's that. Black Widow is stupid.
What do you mean?
Like, for the first half of the movie, she does things that are stupid.
What do you mean?
Like, she's not, because every time she shows up prior to this movie in, the Avengers or whatever, she's incredibly smart, incredibly intuitive. She's 2 steps ahead of whoever she's fighting.
Yeah.
In this movie, she, for the first half of it, she gets surprised multiple times. Like, she runs out of gas. Like, Black Widow from the Avengers wouldn't be like, "Oh, I guess I'm in hiding. I guess I'll go put my gas can in the thing and drive over." No.
Yeah.
No. She's a moron in this movie. So that was frustrating because Black Widow prior to this movie is one of my favorite characters in Marvel. So that was frustrating.
There's a specific moment that really irked me early on. Like, when they're fighting the Black Widows are like basically they're mind controlled. Like, they're doing stuff against their wishes. The first one that they run into, and she's like, "I don't want to do this. He's making me do this," and like kills herself.
Right.
Why would, as a movie, that makes it less interesting because now there's nothing to figure out.
Right.
It's just clearly someone's controlling. Black Widow should have been like, "What's going on?"
Right.
I mean, I guess she's with her sister, so she could.
But it doesn't even make sense in the context of everything else that we know about.
But that was the moment I'm like, that makes it less interesting as an audience member to be like, clearly this is not what it's, you know, it's whatevs. I mean, Marvel loves its secret,
twisty stuff.
Marvel loves its like teams. Besides like Avengers, there's Shield, there's what's the bad one?
All of them. Oh, Hydra.
That has Hydra, and then we have like the Doctor Strange teams. But now we have like, but actually there's the secret assassins that are keeping things in check.
Yeah.
You know, and if you would have watched Loki, there's the TVA as well. You know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just Marvel's always like, oh yeah, here's a secret organization that you didn't know about that's secretly running the world.
Again. See, that's what I'm talking about with our bonus episode and the death of creativity. Anyhow, what else? So Black Widow is a human being with no special superpowers, no healing factor, no whatever, anything else. She's dead about 5 minutes into the main part of this movie. And then again and again and again and again. I can forgive that for Captain America or Thor. It makes no sense at all that she's bouncing off building after building after building, and then she lands and she just stands up.
She lands on her feet. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was dumb. We had the slowest avalanche in the history of the world in this movie, so that was pretty cool. As of this moment, watching this movie, I am no longer interested in anything happening at the last possible second. Marvel has robbed me of the tension of the clock, I think, because it seems like every frickin' thing in Marvel happens at the last possible second.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer interested in that. You can stuff it.
My biggest negative is Taskmaster. And it's only because they ruined Taskmaster.
I've never heard of Taskmaster.
I know. But like Marvel has they've done a few things with like iconic villains like the Mandarin from Iron Man 3 stuff. But whatever. But Taskmaster, he's so specific in the comics and in the TV shows and in video games. Like he can see you do something, he can do it too. And it's a man in the comics. But he also talks. He's got a specific like personality. He's got things that make him him, and you can never kill him the same way twice. Because if you do something, you gotta.
He knows it.
He knows it. Like for example, in one of the Spider-Man cartoons he was in, they like in the dark swapped costumes, Spider-Man and whoever he was teaming up with, so he wouldn't know because that was unpredictable. You know, you have to. But like this movie tries to do stuff like here's Captain America's shield, here's Black Panther's claws, here's Hawkeye's arrows. He's studied the Avengers. Nothing can stop him. In the end, it didn't matter.
Right.
In the end, she stopped her because just whatever. She didn't do anything that usually takes to stop Taskmaster. And that's, as a comic book fan, that's just disappointing. Yeah.
Sad.
And the main villain is also kind of a womp.
I liked the main villain.
I mean,
I thought he was pretty strong as far as villains in this series go.
Hold on. Here's a crazy take. I like Ray Winstone, and he's got a persona with him, but he controls people with his pheromones, you know?
Yeah.
There is a character in Marvel that does that.
Pheromone Man?
No. He's the Mandrill. Do you know what a Mandrill is?
No.
It looks like a baboon.
Oh, okay.
And in the comics, he's just a man with a mandrill head. And besides, I think he's smart and strong and stuff. But his other distinct power is he can control women with his pheromones.
Wow.
This movie should have done Mandrill. Can you imagine?
No, this movie never would have made it out of production.
To someone with a monkey face? Can you imagine if they put Mandrill in this movie? They should have. They should have gone all in. Anyway, but no, that's not what they did.
No. Nope. There's just so many problems. I actually did the math on like the final scene when they explode the floating fortress or whatever.
The Red Room.
The Red Room. I looked up how fast do things fall.
Yeah.
I did. And I did the math. And so from the time that things start falling until they hit the ground, it should have been a little under 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So the entire last 20 minutes of this just makes no sense at all. Like, how does it take them, even if they were, I put it in at 7.5 miles, you can still, out of the earth, there's still breathable air.
Yeah.
So I assumed that this was 7.5 miles out.
Okay.
There's no way that this quote unquote climax scene happens in the world that we know of with the gravity that we are aware of.
That's funny. See,
I realize that's a nitpick, but at that point, I was so
yeah.
upset with this movie that...
I mean, the thing about this, yeah, she's like skydiving to her sister.
Sure.
Then Taskmaster skydives to her. And then they just throw a little... Like I said, there's a few cool images, like falling through the air. Taskmaster like guides guides her, like with a sword at one point, slicing through something, so she goes this way.
Yeah.
Stuff like that looks cool, but
So,
at that point, it's
nobody cares.
right.
So here is another problem I had. In order to win the battle, Taskmaster just had to do nothing. Black Widow hits the ground, turns into strawberry jam. Taskmaster wins. Anyhow, frickin' this movie sucks.
Can we just go to the philosophy?
Sure.
Let's do the philosophy.
Okay, so the very obvious... another con was this movie was very ham-handed in its approach to the main philosophical question, which is free will. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to do anything because you can watch this movie and whatever, free will, who cares at this point? I don't even care about free will anymore. Look what you've done to me, Disney. Freaking, you suck. I'm opting for a couple of kind of smaller tangential philosophical questions. Yeah. So like, what is the role of your past in your present?
What a good question to ask.
Right. And it fits here because in this movie, apparently, because in the scene with Dreykov and Black Widow, he's making fun of her because, is this your, troubled childhood or whatever? So this movie seems to suggest that if we allow our past to shape or control our present, then we have no present. Like, Black Widow is living in the past until she can either kill this guy or resolve her daddy and mommy issues or whatever. She has no life, which we kind of see in the other times that she shows up in the franchise. Go ahead.
But, I was wondering about this while watching is they're so fixated at the 3 years that they had together.
Right.
Are those 3 years of childhood going to impact an adult that much, though?
Well, it depends on what the rest of your life looks like.
Oh, okay. I guess that is the difference.
So in their case, the rest of their life was terrible.
Right.
Sucked. And so, yeah,
that
absolutely.
Does make sense. I was actually
you would
wondering
be hanging on to that, I would think.
Because that's Florence Pugh's character. That's all she held on to.
Totally fixated on that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so, if this movie is right in anything, I think that would be it. The role of the past is to inform current choices, in my opinion, high over the shoulder, is to inform current choices. You remember the past, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from the successes that you had so that you can continue to succeed, and that's it.
Can you imagine if they went in on that and actually did Taskmaster where you had to learn from the past to defeat a villain that learned from.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have been so cool?
That would have been cool.
But no, that's not what happened.
No, it sure isn't. And so there's that. And then you can ask the other end of that question. So what is the role of your future self in the present? And this movie seems to suggest that you shouldn't worry about it or prepare for it. You have a goal that you want to accomplish, the end.
Yeah.
So I basically disagree with everything philosophically that this movie had to say about the role of our past and our future.
Interesting.
Because in my opinion, as I'm sure we've picked up on, I subscribe to the Eastern philosophy. We have to be here now. Right now, I need to be here in this 90-plus degree room, experiencing the sweat.
Jason's hair is getting
my
more
hair is
ruffled
getting
than ruffled.
just embracing that, being here. The past has brought me here.
Yeah.
I appreciate who I was, but it doesn't, like I'm not stuck there. I'm not living there. The future, eventually we're going to leave this room. We're going to finish this podcast. Probably go get a biggie bag on my way home from Wendy's. But that's not influencing right now either.
Okay, I see.
I'm living here. I'm here with you. My intellect is engaged here.
I don't know if our hardcore audience gets annoyed whenever I bring up current teenagers and social media, but it is my job to be with students all day, and I think about these things.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much, because when you're engaged in social media, and you know what, I'll even say this, I struggle with this too, just being plugged in all the time.
Yeah.
How you're not present when you're online or whatever. And
so I cut Jean Baudrillard out of our last episode, but I can bring him
bring
here
in Jean Baudrillard
with that. So what you're describing is the hyperreal. So life itself isn't enough. Like the present moment where you are doing what you're doing isn't enough. We've become increasingly immune to normal, to regular life. We have to have more. We have to have a hyperreal.
Yeah. But
so yeah.
I'm not projecting. This is from me. Sometimes I just don't want to be left alone with my thoughts. It's like,
well, I'm sure
I start thinking about things too much. But
sure.
but sometimes I let me just get a moment to myself here and just not think about anything sometimes.
But you're not by yourself.
I'm with my millions of best friends.
You're with the algorithm that has
Yeah.
programmed a specific feed for you.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Media literacy of the real. I was trying to find anything. What's the strongest theme here? As maybe negative as it sounds, I don't think there is a strong theme.
No.
But
Free will.
I was like, family.
Yeah.
And what she comes to at the very end is like, I have two families, it turns out. Let me go fix my other family. Yeah, I know. Jason just eye rolled. That's fair. But the movie, I think, is trying to kind of say it's not, you can definitely see this, the importance of family. We need the people in our life, even if they're not even related to us. These guys aren't a real family. They're put together, but they decide to be a family, to work together, to support each other. There's definitely a strong theme of you need family to teach you, to guide you, to help you, anything and everything,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That ties to the triangle episode.
Yeah.
We were talking about the meaning of life. What I expressed there in more detail is exactly that. The meaning of life is connections and serving others and being served, creating those bonds, those familial bonds that aren't necessarily blood family bonds. I don't feel like Black Widow did that theme justice at all. I feel like it just beat us over the head with it and then left us bleeding and in the dirt.
there was a line that's repeated multiple times. I'm like, is this gonna? She's like, your pain only makes you stronger.
Right.
That got repeated a few times as a little running motif, but I don't think this movie has. I don't think it became anything more than just a line.
Yeah.
I truly don't think that line led to a lesson she learned, a lesson for us to learn.
I feel like it led to her being Black Widow.
Yeah, I don't think it led to even the mom character. She's the one that said it at first. I think it just was a nothing, you know?
Yeah.
It just
Just
anyway.
like the rest of the movie.
I was a little frustrated with this movie.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, just sad it didn't exist earlier. I mean, I don't think you need to change.
Earlier.
I don't think you need to change that much to have just put it into phase 2.
But it still wouldn't be a good movie.
It wouldn't, but Marvel used to be like, here's a movie that's not great. Maybe the next one will be better. Like Captain America 1.
It was terrible.
Not great, but I love Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And then Civil War.
Yeah.
Thor, not great, but I like Thor 2 better. I like Thor 3 even better, you know? And now Marvel doesn't seem to care about giving some of these characters another chance to get better.
Yeah. That's just so tragic. Moving on.
Sorry.
No. These characters can just go jump off a cliff at this point.
Except for Florence Pugh, who will be in the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I would watch whatever her character's name is, I would watch a movie of her.
Yeah. Well, she's
absolutely.
Maybe she'll be like one of the main characters, because
I hope so.
Yeah.
She was magnificent. Ethics, again, is very, very ham-handed, but like, what are the ethics of manipulation, or, conditioning or programming someone else? I think the movie is very, very clear that is naughty and we shouldn't do it. The end. Like, I don't have any.
Don't manipulate. Got it. Okay.
Don't put pheromone locks on anyone. Anyhow, yeah, I don't.
Anyway,
this is me crumpling my notes for this piece of crap.
I just will say one thing. I was like, what did people say about this? I saw one person on YouTube saying it's one of his personal favorite ones.
How?
Because he likes spy espionage.
This is not a spy espionage.
But it's very James Bondy.
No.
You have
it's got parts of James
song
Bondy.
Opening credits with like a montagey stuff, globe trotting, stopping one bad guy
for no reason at all,
who's got a spy ring of assassins.
Sure.
It's James Bondy.
Okay.
James Bond is an interesting franchise because they weren't sequels like we know today. It's just
they're just the same movie.
Yeah,
over
just
and over
like
and
adventures.
over and
Here's
over.
another adventure. Here's another adventure.
Which is exactly the same as the previous adventure.
It wasn't until there are stuff that carries over, like
they're
James
the same
Bond.
thing.
Okay, but the thing I was trying to lead to is in the 70s is when sequels actually kind of get born, with like Godfather Part 1, Part 2. There's a Part 2 to this, and then the Planet of the Apes movie is another big one. Here's the next part. You need to have seen the first one to watch this one.
Yeah.
Now it's all sequels. Even James Bond is. You kind of need to know Daniel
Not all of
Craig's stories. Yeah, James Bond. Oh, like Daniel Craig Bond.
Not everything is sequels.
Not everything.
Indie film.
All right. So
indie film.
We are not the biggest fan of this movie. What did you think, Black Widow?
Except for Florence Pugh. Our next movie, I'm not going to tell you what I think. Good. You never do.
Oh. Well, we'll see if you like it. It's Shang-Chi.
Okay. Who I've literally never heard of before.
Yeah. Not a big character, but they're trying to, let's take a character and like show that you can do stuff with him. Or it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, like D-list character. Now everyone knows their names and people love them. It's kind of like that. Let's take a character and make it like what it could be and what it should be type of thing. So it's kind of cool that way. It is an origin story. We'll see how you feel.
Okay.
Then Eternals, which I'll just chuckle until you see it.
Just so our listening audience is aware, the next episode after this I will not be a part of it because I will be on my pre-school year starting vacation.
What are you going to go do?
Sit in a hot
Do you
tub.
fish? Do you like to fish?
Oh, heck no. I don't kill things. I can't even kill spiders.
No, you don't have to kill
Put
fish.
them on little pieces of paper and take them outside,
Okay.
which is hypocritical because I eat steak. I eat shrimp, so I'm a hypocrite. But
How dare you?
you know,
Thank you so much for listening. As always, think critically about the movies you watch. You will... Well, I mean, I was going to say you will like the movie better, but sometimes
it reveals the weaknesses, which makes you a better person.
Yeah, there it
because
is.
then you know not to make that movie. So
Yeah.
also, I'm going to start adding this. Support indie film. Get on Netflix and find a movie that you've never heard of. There's no, scuttlebutt about it. There's no nothing. And just watch it because, like I was talking to Ryan off mic, some of my favorite movies that I've watched in the last year, actually probably a good percentage of them are not big studio movies or indie films.
Yeah.
So if you don't listen to our little bonus episode that we made, I feel like creativity's home currently is the indie film. So go
Do you
find...
have any indie films you want to recommend right now for
Oh,
recommendations of the
yeah.
reel?
I've got a lot.
Yeah, you don't watch big blockbuster movies, as
Nope.
we've established in this podcast.
Yes.
You do watch weird movies no one's ever heard of.
Yes, because they're different. They're creative. They're unique. I'm opening
I'll find a couple
my
too.
favorite movies list. Let's see. Marrowbone is a magnificent movie. It's beautiful. Pontypool is also, I believe, an indie film. Triangle, which we
talked about last
just
week.
barely talked about. American Hangman is magnificent. It's an amazing piece of cinema. Run, Lola, Run.
I haven't seen that one.
Is so good. It's so good. And so, yeah, I mean, go find, you can just start with that list and go see what an actually creative movie looks like. Support indie film. You support big movie.
I watch everything.
You support big
I
movie.
recommended a Buster Keaton movie last
That's
week.
true.
You
And guess,
rapscallion.
wait, guess who Buster Keaton worked for? Big film.
Sorry, the industry was just invented, okay?
That one weird movie. What was it called? Where the doors all disappeared and
Oh, a Skinamarink?
Skinamarink. It's not amazing, but it's very unique and yeah, there's a ton of tension. I think I've mentioned it in a couple of other episodes, but I've never been on the edge of my seat more than I was watching that movie, beginning to end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, I got a couple just random ones. There's the Before trilogy, Before Sunset.
See, if it's a trilogy-
Okay, stop. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, then Before Midnight. These were made 10 years in between. They didn't know they were going to make the next one every time. And they got the same actors. And it's like, where would these characters be 10 years from now?
Oh.
Anyway, Before Sunrise, it's literally two people talking the entire time, walking through Paris
Wow.
or whatever city
Sell
it is.
it, Ryan.
And like they're falling in love in real time type of thing. It's really cool, just these conversations. However, Before Sunset is the best one. And like independent, these are like you can't get cheaper than this. Like all you need are these two people, like Ethan
Walking
Hawke
through
and,
Paris.
just for falling in love again.
Wait, Ethan Hawke's in it?
Yeah, he's one of the two characters.
I'm
And Before Sunset's the
I
better
like
one
Ethan Hawke.
because it's shorter. That does help it. But we also want to know where they've been the last 10 years. Beautiful movie. And then Frances Ha, it's clearly a super personal movie for her about turning 30 and what are you going to be like as a grown-up. It's black and white. It's low budget. It's indie. It's worth your time.
What is it called?
Frances Ha.
Oh, I thought that was the director. Okay, Francis Ha.
The last one, Shiva Baby, and this one's rated R. But Shiva Baby, it takes place as a Shiva or Shiva. It's the Jewish wig, you know.
Yeah.
I might not be saying right. But the whole movie is just in one house, just characters talking, interacting, a lot of dramatic irony and stuff. Shows you can do so much with no budget as long as the writing's there.
Okay. So you're on my team.
I am on your team.
Kill
I
Disney.
just disagree with.
Kill Disney.
Anyway.
Oh, also, you should watch a movie called Caliber, which is in my probably top 25 favorite movies. I love Caliber. Another indie, low-budget film that just does amazing things with very little. So,
we love you.
oh yeah, we're done now. Okay, yeah, we do love you. Sorry if this has been clunky.
The room is hot.
The room's very
We had
hot.
recording issues.
We had multiple
We
recording
talked about
issues.
streaming for 45 minutes.
We've been here together for 4 hours, and that's as much Ryan as I can take in
All
one
right.
setting. Love you guys.
See you next week. Love you. Bye.